All right, so we want to welcome you to your first course on your menu. This is called a little savory, a little sweet.
Yes.
Because it is really a great partnership that we've put together with Eden Creamery, Acme Bake Shop, and then the things that we harvested from the campus garden. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the pepper jelly. So this is a blend of 3 different peppers. So we've got these really pretty pimentos that we harvested from the campus garden. We've got some bell peppers, which gives you some sweetness. And then my favorite part is the little bit of spicy and some jalapenos. So it's a mixture of 3 different types of peppers that I've then mixed with some honey, some local honey,
Ooh.
and then cooked that down, and then I canned it, right? So I put it in jars, cooked it in the water bath canner until it sealed, about 10 minutes, and then ended up with this really sweet, kind of spicy jelly.
Jalapeno jam is probably one of my favorite things on the planet, and I always forget that I have it somewhere in my pantry, and then making a dish or something, I'm like, I need one more layer of, oh, why don't I have more of this all the time?
Yeah,
So,
I feel like it's one of those underappreciated things that people are like, oh, pepper
Absolutely.
jelly, that sounds awful.
and even if you're not super into spicy stuff, the sweet really does offset this, and then this really awesome cheese that's going to go on this. Say that again, Labineh.
Labineh from Eden Creamery. So her dairy is located just outside of Kuna, and she raises Oberhausley goats and then milks them and makes all sorts of different types of cheeses, yogurts. And so we've decided to pair the pepper jelly with this.
So it's really similar to a cream cheese.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a nice soft cheese that you're going to be able to spread onto this crusty baguette from Acme Bake Shop. Acme Bake Shop is one of our other valued partners for Farm to Fork this year. They're located just outside of Garden City.
Yep.
And he does custom orders. You'll find him at the farmer's market. You should go follow him on Instagram. I love to watch some of the things that Mike is putting together for those custom orders and the farmer's market.
Absolutely.
So what Nate's doing here is he's toasting some of that yummy, crusty baguette that you've got from Acme Bake Shop. I think that's a good place to start. You could certainly just slice it and eat it.
Or just
Eat
toast
it
the
this
whole
way.
baguette and throw it in the oven. If you're a break it into chunks kind of person, that's fine. But this will make for a really nice plating, especially if you're having people over. Something you can do, toast off the baguette a little bit ahead of time. It's okay if it's not screaming hot. Give it a chance to cool off a little bit. Then you can spread our cheese and put our pepper jelly on, plop it on a plate and put it out, and it's ready to go. Good luck not eating it all before people show up is usually my problem.
Yes.
I like my sourdough, what we say in the restaurant is I like my sourdough a little bit rustic, or my baguette a little bit rustic, which is our way of saying burnt. But I like the little bit of black char on there. I think it does add another layer of flavor that's not just toasted bread. Again, I'm not trying to burn them, so I'm gonna turn this off. The best part about cast iron skillets is that'll be hot for 3 or 4 more minutes.
Yeah.
But I want some actual color on there. I don't want it to be, just this light, warmed up piece of baguette. I wanted to experience the heat from the pan.
And in your box, you're getting this crusty baguette. You're getting a little container of this cheese, and the pepper jelly's already going to be at the bottom of that. So it's going to be kind of you're going to find it in your box in a little container. The pepper jelly's going to be on the bottom, and then this cheese will be layered on top. So you can assemble that once you are ready.
You want to throw one of those together?
Heck yeah. I sure do.
I'm hungry. I kind of want to eat all these right now.
And I don't get too sophisticated here, obviously.
Where's your piping bag?
I know. Super fancy, right?
Again, rustic. Rustic
Yeah.
is the theme. No,
Farm
that's
to
beautiful.
fork.
That's
Farm to
great.
fork.
Oh, yeah, where's my fork? Here it is. I'm ready. What do I do with this?
You are going to eat that here in a sec. And then I'm gonna take my pepper jelly, and I like a lot, but
Yep.
you can eat it however you want. And there we go.
Ooh,
There's
look at that.
one.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2.
That's awesome.
And I'm putting them on these super cute bee plates. We're going to talk about why pollinators are important to agriculture. If you join us for the garden tour, or if you joined us for the garden tour, you were able to meet with Dusty Perkins. He's one of our biology faculty here doing some research on monarch butterflies. And then being out in this space, just this morning I was seeing some bumblebees behind us and some other various
they're
bees.
right here.
Super important for...
They do all the work. We literally can't do this without them. It's impossible.
True. So the bee plates feel like a good little...
Here, little buddy.
Little match. All right, and this is your first course. This is your appetizer. I hope you enjoy it. It's a great partnership and collaboration with some of our industry partners with the Campus Garden.
I don't want to play.
All right, so we're gonna welcome you to your second course. On your menu, this one is just Soups On, which is a variety of different types of squashes that we've grown here in the Campus Garden. So you're gonna see an array here of squash varieties that Nate will take in the next week or so. We're filming this early, obviously.
Today? Now?
But we will harvest some squash varieties that are ready. What we've got here, this fancy looking green, they call it a turban hat, is kind of what it's it's defined as in the little definition there. It is a buttercup squash, so a winter squash variety. It pairs really nicely with the butternut squash, surprise, surprise. So, you know. Nice. And then we've also got some yellow scalloped squashes here, some yellow and zucchini squash varieties, and another kind of yellow type of squash. So there's a whole lot of squash going on. And Nate, thankfully, can take all of this and turn it into something delicious.
I'm gonna squash all the squash together in a pan. We'll dice them all up, simmer them together with some vegetable stock until they're really nice and tender. Add in some onions and garlic and some fresh sage also from here in the garden. And then we will puree it all and strain it so it just makes a really nice, smooth, creamy bisque. And then I'm going to take a couple of these sage leaves and just fry them. So in with your soup, you'll be able to warm that up on the stove top, no problem. Microwave if you prefer. Heat it up and then just take your crispy fried sage leaf and just set it right on top, or just eat it like a chip. Sage mellows out a lot when you fry it. It's very strong as a raw herb, and a little goes a long way. If you were dicing this up fresh and raw and putting it on top of something, you would really know it if you used the whole sage leaf. But if you fry them, you can eat the whole thing like a chip with a little bit of sea salt on it, and it's a lovely treat. I would venture to say that you're gonna want more than I give you, and I'm sorry about that in advance. But feel free to grow sage, grab some somewhere, and try that as well yourself at home. It's an awesome garnish and just an awesome snack. So.
And on the off chance that you have any of that bread left from your appetizer, you might want to have some of that on the side crispy, to dunk in your soup as you enjoy that second course. And a great partnership with the CWI Campus Garden and this cool dude right here, the owner of Tower Grill.
Doing all the hard work.
Yes, this is true. All right, so we're gonna welcome you to your main dish prep. This is a super exciting partnership that we have with Gutierrez Farms, and you'll have an opportunity to go out and learn more about their farm. They do beef, lamb, and sell eggs. They're located just south of Nampa, and we're putting together a lamb beef gyro for you. So we're gonna do some of the prep here to get you to the place where now you're taking home that wonderful package of meat and you're ready to warm it up.
Absolutely. So we started with half and half, 50-50 Gutierrez Farms ground beef and ground lamb. And so if you're a lamb purist, it's not 100%, but they're both from the same farm, and a lot of people like to mellow the stronger flavor of lamb a little bit with beef, and that's pretty traditional for gyros as well. So not uncommon at all. You all have the opportunity just to warm up what we've already made for you. So we've already done the time-consuming part for you. But what we've done is just sauteed a little bit of onions and garlic. And we're gonna mix all the other ingredients together, let them rest and hang out for a little bit before we brown the meat off, and then we're gonna work on some other courses, but you'll just get to warm it up and enjoy it. So I'm gonna grab some onion. Do you need all the garlic? Yeah. all the garlic.
All the garlic. And while he's sauteing that, I'm gonna go ahead and add some delicious breadcrumb to our meat mixture here. Our bread comes from Acme Bake Shop, which you've had an opportunity to learn about in your first course, which was your appetizer. So we're gonna duplicate that partnership again here in the main dish.
All right.
And to that, we're also going to add some wine, some white wine. About a quarter cup. We like to eyeball things. We don't like to actually measure
don't go
things.
crazy with measuring. That's right about there. Get that all simmery.
It smells so tasty.
Ooh. I think we should probably put some in with the breadcrumbs too.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And then I'm gonna chop up some parsley for you here, because I know you're gonna
fresh
need to
from the
add
garden.
that. We have some really good fresh herbs here, Nate. Do you want to talk about which you harvested this morning from the
we had to
garden
walk
beds?
all the way over behind us to grab some fresh oregano, some thyme, and I even found some cilantro, coriander, that has gone to seed. And so we're just gonna kind of smash that up, if you don't mind if I use this knife
Go
real
ahead.
quick. I'm just gonna kind of beat it up a little bit, and we're gonna chuck that in with our blend here, and let it sit for a while so all the herbs can kind of get to know each other. The sauteed onions and garlic, we're reducing the wine out a little bit. We'll throw it all together. The longer that has a chance to just sit together, those breadcrumbs are kind of going to absorb all this good stuff. It makes it a much more enjoyable experience. The time is worth letting everything just kind of hang out together for this recipe.
They're gonna get friendly.
They are. Well, they've grown up right next to each other.
Yes.
They're in the same box, right? Or next to each other anyway.
Siblings.
I'll run through this parsley real quick.
Yeah. We probably need to do a rest.
Might as well just do all the herbs together. That's the best part about that.
And this is one of my favorite parts, is the smell. So
Oh.
I can smell the rosemary.
Which
I
they
can
can't
the
smell.
parsley.
Yeah.
I know. But I'll just tell you, it
Smell-o-vision.
smells really good.
It's pretty awesome. All
And
right.
maybe when you're cooking it, you'll get a little whiff of it too, right?
Yeah.
When they're reheating it.
Oh, I hope they will. Oh, for sure they will. All right, we're getting close on these.
And I brought you a hot pad holder if you need it.
Awesome.
I always grab those and
Yeah, grab the
burn
skillet.
my hand.
You don't have a Lodge tattoo handle on your hand there. And just a squeeze from a half a lemon, or just the end of that lemon there, right into the sauce. Oh yeah. All right.
And now this reminds me of making meatloaf, right?
But
You're
that's
just gonna
really
get your
similar. This
hands
is
in
really
there.
similar to that. We're just gonna get to do the fun part that we all wanted to do as kids, right? Which was just get in there and mix it up. You can wait for a little bit so that you don't burn your hands
was
on the
gonna say,
hot
if you've
onions in
got
front of your
hands
friends.
like
But if you've worked in the
Jacques
kitchen
Pepin.
for a while, it's really fine. It's not a big deal.
You ever watch Jacques?
Yeah, Jacques
And then,
Pepin.
like, he grabs stuff that's scorching hot.
Right.
I'm like, how does he do
How does he do that? He has no feeling in his hands. He's a French chef they use their fingers for everything. So we're just gonna get this all mixed up and then just let it hang out a little bit. Again, just so you can see part of the process if you'd like to duplicate this later at home. But you're gonna get to enjoy this. We've already done all the hard work and resting it for you. You can just warm it up. Then we can get to work on our appetizer and our second course.
Should we show you how pretty it looks, though? Yum,
And it
yum.
smells awesome. Ah, that's so good. All right.
So we're gonna welcome you back to your main course. The meat's had some time to soak in all of those delicious flavors, and now we're gonna cook it. Remember, you're getting a cooked version of this, but we really just kind of wanted to walk you through the process of what went into this delicious dish that you're enjoying for your main course. So what Nate's doing is he's putting together kind of some patties, if you will, like lamb beef
loose
patties, because they are going to go on this pita bread here. We mentioned that your main course is a Greek gyro is kind of what we're going for. And so Nate's cooking this up right now. He's going to add some more fresh herbs in there.
Because we have them and we're here.
Yes.
All right, oops, we're just gonna let that hang out. For a couple minutes, we'll get this side nice and brown while we work on the tzatziki, yeah?
Yeah. So you're also gonna find in your box some prepared tzatziki for you. We didn't wanna go to the hassle of having to get you the Greek yogurt and all of the things that go into the tzatziki sauce. But what we've got here is a little bit of Greek yogurt. We are going to add some of this yummy charred lemon. And so we'll take one of these, and I like to just take the spatula or the...
There you go, yeah, use the lever.
And, yeah, I like to leverage my tools in the kitchen because otherwise
Ooh.
We're gonna
yeah,
throw some
that's a good trick, burning the lemon like that. It really, again, adds another little layer of flavor, and it's easier to squeeze.
And it's pretty.
And
right?
also, it's pretty.
It's pretty.
That matters.
It does matter. So I'm gonna go ahead and start whisking this a little bit. Nate's got some parsley there he's gonna chop up and add to this. The other big component of this tzatziki are these delicious cucumbers. So we grow these here in the campus garden. These are one of my favorite varieties. They're called munchers. Usually because I like to pick them about this size so that when I come out in the garden, I can just sit there and munch on them while I'm pulling weeds and doing all of those other fun things in the garden. So
you grow your own garden snacks.
I'm gonna take these, and I like to peel just a little bit of the skin off of these, not too much, because I do like the flavor of the skin.
Is there a part of the cucumber that's a bit more bitter than others? Yeah. Like the ends, I've heard, can be a little bit more bitter than others.
And I think the skin can also be a little bit bitter.
Especially if they're older. Like you sneak out in your garden and there's a 12-pound cucumber laying there, that's probably not going to be the most delicious one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I would still eat it because I don't like things to go to waste, but I would turn that into like, I'd probably cut it in half, pull all the seeds out, and turn it into some kind of like refrigerator pickle or something that's not like,
there you go,
super critical for the...
I'm gonna throw the parsley and the garlic in.
Perfect. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna chop this up pretty finely.
Excellent, and I'll work on getting the tomatoes broken down.
And then,
what are these called again?
Yeah, so let's talk about the tomatoes. So your box will probably have several different, you could have several options. What Nate's got here is a Cherokee Purple, which is a really, really pretty heirloom tomato.
Look how meaty that is.
They say they look like purple hearts.
Wow.
So it's really, really pretty. You might have that in your box. You might have some of these smaller varieties. These are a Sun Gold, or we also have, as I'm looking out here, some red cherry tomatoes, which are some super sweet 100s. So you might have something like this that you might just want to do a quick little cut in half. You may also have some red tomatoes in your box. This year we grew a variety called Fantastic, which is kind of like an early girl, another sweet, really good red ripe tomato. Or the last variety that you might have, which I'm kind of proud of, is an Idaho variety called Lata, and it's this yellow color. So you may find some tomatoes like this in your box.
I don't think I've had one of those. Can I taste this?
Yeah. Yeah. And what you're gonna do is kind of what Nate's doing right here, right? You're gonna dice those tomatoes up because you're gonna want those as the topping on your gyro. So I'm gonna hand Nate this pretty little red dish here.
Thank you, thank you.
We'll throw our tomatoes in there because you will want those when the time comes to top your gyros with.
And I can hear our meat sizzling away over here. I'm just gonna push this rosemary around a little bit and get these loose rustic patties kind of flipped over. Side note, not particularly garden related, but if you don't own a cast iron skillet, you're missing out. You don't have to cook over fire. You can use them on your glass stovetop. They're not that high maintenance. They kind of have a bad reputation for being finicky. It's really, once you get to know it, there is, I actually don't own any other type of pan except for maybe one like nonstick egg pan that I do like omelets in at home. But between my cast iron skillets and griddles and a couple pieces of sandstone bakeware, I don't think I have anything that's like you should have a cast iron skillet to enjoy.
Yeah, I discovered the cast iron pans probably a couple years ago, and I'm in the same boat as you now. Once you get them seasoned and the flavor,
it's amazing.
It's crazy what a pan will do for the flavor of the things that you're cooking. We do a lot of stuff on our smoker, so I like to put, potatoes in there or mac and cheese.
Oh, you can go right into the oven, crazy hot, do a pizza in there, whatever you want. I've actually heard, you might know about this a little bit, but I've heard that you do get trace amounts of iron as a dietary supplement, which we don't generally get unless we're eating vegetables that maybe have a little bit of soil still on them or whatever. It's tough to get a lot of extra iron in our diet, and so I've actually heard that cooking in cast iron actually can give you some trace amounts of iron in your diet.
Yeah.
Which we're fans of,
yeah.
having balanced diet.
Heck yeah. Especially as we learn more and more and more about the things that are
good for what's inside.
And what's killing us, right?
Right.
So if the top 5 things that are killing us are related to our diet, and we can curb that. And
so this is medicine? I'm taking my medicine
Can
right
you
now.
Believe that?
Oh,
Can you believe that?
This is the best tasting medicine I've ever had in my entire life.
Farm fresh.
Yes.
So I think our tzatziki is pretty well done. We've got our yogurt. We added some lemon.
Did you throw some dill? Just some dill in there
yep,
just
I
now?
threw
Awesome.
some dill in there. I've got the garlic in there, and so we are going to just let this sit and soak up all of those sauces.
All the juices.
Right?
They're getting to know each other.
And remember, you're getting this already done. So that's all that went into this. And honestly, if I was to choose like one of my favorite things about eating Greek gyros, it's the tzatziki.
Yeah, like, oh no, we're out of meat. I'll just have some nice bread with some tzatziki.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about like the
you're a veggie
the
girl.
dill and the cucumber. It's just this like delightful little marriage that I quite enjoy. So the last thing that we're gonna do while you're finishing up the meat.
Yeah, could you do that?
So we've got our tzatziki here. We've got our diced tomatoes to put on top. We've got a little extra parsley. The other thing that we've got here, and you're gonna find in your box, is a little thing of feta. The feta, again, if you enjoyed that appetizer and that delicious cheese that you had, this is also from Eden Creamery. So another delicious topping from Her Dairy out there in Kuna. And then you're gonna find in your box a red onion. This was also harvested from the campus garden, and I also think makes a really great topping for your gyro. So I'm just gonna take this. I like to pull off a little bit of the peel. It can kind of get a little chewy, I guess.
Sure, yeah, it's firmer. The outside layers are definitely a little firmer than
I like to peel it back a little bit until I get to that really pretty purple spot. These are so pretty. They're so pretty.
I went to South America in 2008. We were in Ecuador walking around a market, and they actually have all of their produce sitting out completely peeled like that. So it's just the outside purple layer. I walked up to a table of just purple onions and I bought like 12, and I had no reason to, but they were just so gorgeous.
And this you're just gonna do a quick little dice on, so nothing too sophisticated. Similar to your tomatoes, right?
Yep.
Where you took the full tomato and did a little dice on it, you're gonna do the same thing here with these really pretty.
And quick tip, if you're not a big red onion fan, they can be a little on the strong side, especially when they're fresh out of the ground, which I love that flavor. But if you want to mellow them out a little bit, if you just take a bowl of ice water, you can just slice them up, chuck them in there while you're kind of getting everything ready, and then strain them and pat them dry really quick. It just kind of takes a little bit of that onion bite out and mellows them out just a little bit. The other option would be sauteing them a little and then letting them cool, but I think fresh is the best application for this dish. So if you want to turn them down a little bit of ice water for 10-15 minutes is awesome. So these look about ready.
Oh, I'm excited. That means it's plating
time.
Plating and eating time.
Oh, we have a B plate.
Yeah, we've got
They're
two
already on
plates
it.
here. Do you want to talk them through just kind of
Yeah,
you did
sure.
a quick reheat on the pita bread
So I
here?
just, in the skillet, but whatever pan you have, we just heated the pita up so it's nice and soft, pliable. Is it time? Are we doing this?
I think we're doing
Okay,
this
awesome.
with the train in the background.
Choo choo. Farm to table. We're cooking
I'll
outside.
let you plate 'em and then
That's what it is.
I'll top them off. How's that sound?
That's great. Here you go.
All right, so there's pita numero uno. And this is really just whatever things you want on top. So if you're not a tomato fan, I would still encourage you to really try a garden fresh tomato.
Oh man, they're not a lot of people don't like the seedy kind of runny center of a tomato, but they're so meaty. A real fresh vine ripened tomato is so, like these varieties in particular, all of them are so meaty inside that I think you're right. You got to try it. You just got to try it.
So even if it's not your thing, please do.
I'm gonna squeeze a little
pass it
fresh
your
lemon
way,
on here because we have more in here and I don't want to waste any of
We
it.
still need the tomatoes on there and the parsley, and then we'll chop it off.
We're using
with
our
that
fingers
yummy
because
cheese.
we're eating these ourselves. And I'm gonna chop up a little more fresh parsley.
Yep, and you'll find some fresh parsley in your box as well to add on top of this. It's a nice little
And I'll
addition.
crumble a little feta on there. Do you want to talk about this Eden Creamery feta? Man, it's so soft.
Yeah, it's so funny because we were talking as we were getting ready to film this that a lot of fetas that you buy from the grocery store can be kind of stiff. They don't have a lot of flavor. I think can be a little bit salty at times.
For sure.
And this is just a really soft, sweet, really just delicious. I don't know how else
It
to,
really is.
how else to explain
It's yeah. I mean, I just threw some in my mouth to see what we're working with, and if you guys can get a hold of some of this cheese regularly and keep supporting these local places that are making artisan cheese from cows in Idaho, it's goats, cows, goat
Oberhausley's.
Anyway, all right.
So this is so pretty. This is it. So you're gonna reheat that meat. You're gonna toast up that pita bread. And then you're gonna add the yummy tzatziki yogurt that's already been prepared for you. You'll chop up those onions and those tomatoes. You'll have that parsley, and then
That's
you're gonna
so pretty. And then you just gotta
stack that all together.
look
and,
at that.
and
Oh,
right?
oh, it's so good. I did it. Ah!
But this is your main course. A great partnership with Gutierrez Farms, a great partnership with Eden Creamery, a great partnership with the Tower Grill and the Campus Garden, and really bringing it all together. If you added on a bottle of wine, this is paired with a delicious red wine from Fujishin Cellars. I hope that you probably opened the bottle of wine when you started this whole process, but if you haven't opened the bottle of wine yet, now would be the time to do it.
You're gonna drink it.
And enjoy it with this main dish. And thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Cheers. Clink. Yeah.
All right, so this is your final dish, dessert time. It's actually probably one of my favorite times.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. No, it's all just leading up to dessert.
Yes, which is one of my favorites. So this year, if you joined us last year for Farm to Fork, you were able to enjoy a strawberry rhubarb ice cream that was put together with strawberries and rhubarb from the Campus Garden. And this year, it felt fitting to stick with the theme of ice cream and the partnership that we have with Stella's Ice Cream. And so Stella's is located here in Nampa, which is my favorite location to go with my kiddos. But they also have a location in Eagle and a location in Boise.
Yeah.
And I work with Chad, their owner. He's a really great guy. And this year I decided we grew a bunch of pie pumpkins. And so it seemed fitting to take out Grandma's pumpkin pie recipe and try to replicate that into some sort of ice cream. And so what I've done here is I've cooked down these pumpkins and made a puree. Similar to that pepper jelly, so you're probably kind of catching onto a theme of things that I like to do. I add some honey and some different spices to essentially create the pumpkin pie filling that would be poured into a pie crust for you to bake at home. I take that over to Stella's and they do their magic and turn it into the delicious pumpkin pie ice cream that you have in your box with you.
It really is magic. I still don't understand how ice cream comes out so awesome. He is a magician with heavy cream and
Yes.
oh man, it's
And
so
all
good.
dairy,
It's all dairy things. Oh, so good.
And with that, you're going to have a little container of some pie crust toppings that I'm hoping you will scoop some of that delicious ice cream into a beautiful dish as you enjoy it, because I think that's part of the experience.
Played it nice.
Sprinkle some of those pie crust toppings on top and enjoy it. And I hope that throughout this entire experience, you've really enjoyed every part that Farm to Fork really embraces. Really that true concept of bringing food that's locally sourced, straight from the garden, and then preparing it, and the pleasures of the table. So one of the things that I really enjoy is being able to sit down with family, with friends, and enjoy that meal, which is really, I think, part of the process. And so I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I hope you enjoyed spending some time with Nate and I and learning more about the campus garden and supporting ag education here at CWI.
Absolutely.
And I'll let Nate.
No, I totally agree. You're absolutely right. I think that the experience you get to have with the meal, combined with the meal, it's almost like a whole nother ingredient. The atmosphere and people you get to spend a meal with can completely change how it goes. So I hope that you got to enjoy this experience along with us through these videos, but just again, enjoying the people that you're with all this crazy stuff going on. I think we could all use a little bit more food from the garden and meals sitting down around a table together. So I hope that you got to do that, and it was a privilege. Thank you so much for having me be a part of this. Again, this is your number 2. I can't wait to do this for 10 more years, right? So awesome. Good job.
I want to welcome you to Gutierrez Farms. I'm standing here with Rick and Sharon Gutierrez, and we're super excited about the partnership that we have this year with our Farm to Fork event. Rick and Sharon own and operate this 40-acre farm where we're standing and raise pasture-raised lamb, pasture-raised beef, and also have some chickens.
Our program here is, again, a rotational grazing program, and so the pasture right behind you, the sheep haven't been on that for probably about a month and a half, and if you go out there, you'll see a diversity of different grasses. There's probably over 15 different grasses growing out there and 5 different legumes. And the sheep right now will be over on the far north pasture that they just started on that. And each pasture kind of has its own characteristics based on soil profile, how we water it and everything. And so some pastures the sheep will go through a lot faster, maybe just only 1 or 2 days on a small section, and then Sharon will move them on to the next section, where other places maybe it'll be very, very thick, and maybe they can spend maybe up to 4 days. Because of this rotation, we're able to sit there and get away from having to treat our sheep for internal parasites. And so again, we've slowly have just gotten away from having to have a lot of interventions, and again, it's just back to this, simplicity. We've kind of started a herd long time ago with a calf called Scooby-Doo, which was a Hereford Holstein, and that kind of started our herd. And right now we're renting 40 acres about a few miles from here that's under irrigation, and so we've got all the cows and their calves right now over there with the breeding bull, and then we'll bring them back here sometime in February and basically let them calve out on the neighbor's ground and keep them close to home, and then once we're done calving, we'll go ahead and put them back over there on the irrigated pasture. The breeds we're using is Murray Grey, which is a breed out of New Zealand that are really known for putting on good body condition just on grass alone. And then the other girl actually is a Charolais crossed with a Holstein that we're trying to use to expand our herd a little quicker. But as you can tell, they've just been strictly on grass, and they look pretty good. It's kind of fun because most of them on a given day, depending on their mood, we can actually come up and Sharon can scratch them on the head and give them a little bit of loving.
It goes back to that whole supporting local farmers, the passion, the care that's taken into producing a quality product. And to me, that's really, really critical, especially when we talk about farm to fork, and everything that I think farm to fork embraces is not only the things that we're doing on campus with educating our students, but also supporting our community and the things that people in our community are doing. And so I think what Gutierrez Farms is doing here in terms of the soil education piece, the bringing things back to as close to nature as you can, and putting out a quality product is like top notch. And I think we should be educated about that. We should be encouraged to participate in that process. We should know that as consumers, this would be a great place for you to come and get your beef and your lamb and your eggs, if that's something that you consume, and know that like these people truly care about bringing quality to your plate. And so that's for me what Farm to Fork embraces, is all of those things. So it's a great natural partnership. We've put together, I think, a great dish that brings that all together. So, you know, when we cooked up that beef and that lamb and put together that gyro with the cucumbers from the garden and the red onions and the tomatoes and that feta from Eden Creamery, like, it was a tasty, tasty meal, and it all came from locally sourced products and these partnerships that we have throughout the valley. So I think it's super exciting.